the volume of trades are run on wide receivers. The league, out of nowhere, in a 12-month span, deciding we value receivers now. We went through a 10-year run of receivers don't matter, man beater concept, it's all scheme. You get a great one, cool, but never pay him. Because if you pay him, that wrecks the rest of the roster. To now everyone's like, pay receivers and throw draft picks at receivers. Let's move up in the draft to go get receivers. We're in the second year of our rebuild, and the most important thing we can do, we believe, is to trade up to get Jared Goff or a wide receiver. That was wild to me. And the big thing was something I think we discussed in the very last preview show of this, teams getting very specific on, we want our guy, but we want our guy at our spot. So we'll move to 16, but we're not moving to 12. We would never do that for Kenyon Green. But if he's there at 16, we'll take him. It is really fascinating and the degree to which teams are willing to work together. It's like, okay, cool, you go to there to get K Walker, and we'll go here to get, obviously there was the Burks deal. Fascinating that how in that first round to the top of the second round, they were all so set on this draft slot for this kind of player.
And I loved how, like I was reading Peter King on Monday, I loved how that trade came together between the Eagles and the Titans in terms of the AJ Brown deal, and knowing that when they came on the clock, or when the pick before came on the clock, that the contract still hadn't been finalized. And you think that's how, they've been talking for 48 hours, and the deal was essentially the prerequisite was that there had to be a new contract sorted. But the fact that you are potentially 20 minutes away from missing out, given that 10 minutes for the slot, the previous team, and then 10 minutes for your slot, and they still hadn't sorted the contract, was just astonishing to me. It was so interesting. But also, you look at that contract, and AJ Brown, $100 million, or whatever it is for Treylon Burks over the, it's essentially, if you're taking the money as a whole, 100 million versus the 3 million, there's a $97 million difference in terms of contractually, and the space that opens up for a team to be able to maneuver. And it's fascinating, the point you make about second contract wide receivers. And we talked in the offseason about, would DK Metcalf get moved, would Terry McLaurin get moved, all these receivers. And you think, actually, you see teams that are prepared to do that, are prepared to just coach guys up for 4 years, turn them into superstars, and then not pay them, because they know that the draft is absolutely full of receivers year after year after year.
And yet the wild part about that is that makes sense in the abstract, right? Okay, we coach them up, squeeze as much value out as possible, then go and get more value from this great player by getting extra draft picks. Well, someone is on the other side of that exchange who's like, no, get me the ready-made player, because our timeline is a little bit different. We've got a quarterback we're not so sure of, so we're going to surround Tua, we're going to sound Jalen Hurts with as much as possible to fail. And then if they fail, then we call Aaron Rodgers or we call whoever and we say, would you like to come and work with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown? It's like part recruiting tool, part insurance policy, part maybe our guy is good and we didn't give him the right ecosystem. The way the receiver market has changed is just unlike anything, really.
It's incredible, isn't it? And like, you look at Tennessee and you think, okay, they worked out the deal and they saved the cash, but that's a huge amount of pressure on Treylon Burks all of a sudden to step into those shoes and for that offense to move. And, in terms of stacking the box against Derrick Henry, something that teams haven't necessarily done, because you've got AJ Brown on the outside. Now you're replacing him with a rookie who's still raw, and route tree issues and those sorts of things. And what's the knock-on effect for that offense in terms of stylistically how it runs and how defenses attack the Titans?